Hey guys, welcome back to another The Unofficial A&R video, and today I want to talk about this new DJ Khaled album. Yes, the time has finally come. Another year, another one. From the one and only DJ Khaled. God did. To which DJ Khaled has credited Allah as being an executive producer on this album. Whenever DJ Khaled drops a new album, my initial reaction is always, okay, here we go. Because DJ Khaled always seems to put together a playlist of jumbled songs with a mixture of features, slaps his name and a title on it, and calls it an album. It can be quite difficult to understand where DJ Khaled is going with some of these projects. Is he aiming for an iconic album? Is he aiming for a cohesive album? Is he just trying to experiment with different features? It can be hard to figure out what the vision of DJ Khaled is. And as a result, if you've listened to DJ Khaled's previous works, when he drops a new project, it can make you question what it is that you're about to listen to. It can also make you want to just skim through the album, pick the songs which include the artists that you usually listen to, and decide to completely neglect everything else. However, I listened to the entire album because why not? And I have a few thoughts about some of the songs. I'm going to start off with some highlights, followed by some okay songs, and then go into my lowlights of the project. Starting off with God Did. God Did is one of the most complete songs on this project. It features three, as I would call it, big boss rappers, Ross, Wayne, and Jay. It features a very prominent chorus from Friday, and lyrically is one of the best songs here. Lil Wayne spews a few of my favorite lines from the project, such as, "They was tired of me winning, now they dead sleep, but I'm so cultivating, everybody replicate me." Jay-Z has the star verse on the entire album, with lyrics like, "We pushing Fenty like fentanyl, this shit is all legitimate, these ain't songs, these hymns, cause I'm him. Jesus turned water to wine for Hove, it just took a stove. I just got $1 million off a sink without risking 1,000,000 years trying to get it out the sink." Nobody is really seeing Jay-Z when it comes to wordplay, especially since he freestyles a lot of his stuff. It just shows that even though music is on the back burner for Jay, he can still out-rap a lot of people, whether new or old on the scene. I will say, however, that the structure of this song does confuse me. Rick Ross has a 40-second verse, Lil Wayne has just over that, and then Jay-Z has basically a whole 4-minute long song to himself. I think Khaled should have just had Jay-Z on the song alone and then given Ross and Wayne a separate song together, because the structure of the song just doesn't make any sense. Jay-Z makes Wayne and Ross look like rookies on this song, which they are far from. And maybe if they had just as long as Jay-Z to rap, then we might not be speaking about Jay-Z as if he's the only rapper here. Nonetheless, it's definitely the strongest song on this album. Beautiful is one of the highlights of this album for me. It's sonically very smooth and easy listening. SZA and Future are kind of a match made in heaven on this song. Toxic king and queen, if you will. Future shows that he's in his comfort zone when he's talking about being toxic, but he shows that he can also sound great when talking about spoiling his girl too, if we just ignore the "you can't just up and leave a nigga cause you caught him cheating" bar, which kinda just Uno reverses everything else that he says. I'm willing to overlook that, however. It Ain't Safe is probably my favorite song on this project. Everything about this song makes sense, from its menacing instrumental to the choice of features. Nardo Wick shows that he's a serious contender when it comes to punchlines, and he doesn't sound cheesy either. Some of his lines do make me laugh though. "I don't be with fuck niggas, but I keep my FN. We look like some old people, everybody got a stick. No, my phone ain't never dead, but I pull up 5%. When I walk, my chains go back and forth like they in an argument." And actually, my favorite lyric from Nardo on this song is, "I don't want that necklace if that Cuban link don't bling bow." Kodak Black has a strong verse too. I do feel like 21 Savage would have sounded good on this, but Kodak and Nardo hold it up very well. Bills Paid is a very strong song. Latto spits some of the best I've ever heard her rap. She's very assured and serious. The City Girls sound just as good as Latto on this song. The Eddie Kendricks Keep on Truckin' sample sounds phenomenal, very well engineered here. I think DJ Khaled should consider this as a single if he hasn't already. I can see this being a huge hit for women. Way Past Luck is immortalizing for 21 Savage. He's really on his Jay-Z shit here. When I listen to this song, I just think it's so crazy to think that 21 Savage started off where he was and how much he's grown lyrically since he's become famous. 21 Savage features now have a sense of maturity and seriousness to the point where I truly feel like in the future, a 21 Savage feature will be just as valuable as, for instance, a J. Cole feature, if it's not already. 21 Savage has a lot of star quality on this song. It's very hard for people to try and deny it now. These streets know my name. Now I know that this song will probably go over a lot of people's heads, but to me this song is basically like a Jamaican cypher, which is something that I will always commend DJ Khaled for because he always pays homage to Jamaican music, having some absolute veterans such as Capleton, Sizzler, Buju Banton and Bounty Killer, and to also introduce newbie Skillabeng, who is one of the frontrunners of the Jamaican music scene right now, who shows that he can absolutely hang with the veterans lyrically, will always be great to see in my opinion, even if it's not what people might be expecting or what people might naturally lean towards. When it comes to songs like this, they will always be an anomaly on DJ Khaled's albums because it's not meant to sound like everything else. Juice WRLD Did is one of the cleverest songs on this project. Juice WRLD plays with some of DJ Khaled's most popular taglines like Another One and We the Best. It's got this signature Juice WRLD flow, it's nice and upbeat, very enjoyable too. Jadakiss interlude washes so many of the songs on this project, it's unfair. And mind you, Jadakiss is only rapping on this song for a little over a minute. If we ignore the sample from Verses and the sample from James Brown's Down and Out in New York City, which takes up half of the song, this song is too good to be an interlude, but at the same time, it fits the notion of interludes usually being some of the best songs you've ever heard in your life. You really just want Jadakiss to keep going on this track. He's really in a league of his own, to be honest. Now we get into the so-so songs on the project. Use This Gospel is very frustrating to me. First of all, the chorus and production is great. The chorus is catchy, the beat is commanding, you can tell that this was produced by Dre, and Eminem's verse starts off really nice. Yes, he does this very gimmicky voice, but it sounds decent at first, but then we get to the halfway point of Eminem's verse, and then he starts to squish his sentences together. His flow goes from smooth to having peaks and troughs, and then Dr. Dre puts this very odd dubstep segment at the end, and it's not terrible, but it's just like, okay, I don't know if that did anything, but alright. This song had a lot of potential to be a commanding, standout track, but it just goes a little awry and completely loses its momentum in the strangest way possible. Big Time is the most predictable song on this album. From the beat, to the lyrics, to the sound. If somebody asked me what I envision a Future and Lil Baby song to sound like, this song would be it. It's just very samey, very safe, kinda boring, nothing like Live Off My Closet, and it's just disappointing. Keep Going with Dirk, 21 Savage, and Roddy Ricch is a hard-hitting rap song. The beat is very noisy, however. I feel like there's a lot going on in its production. It's as if Khaled and TM88 wanted to incorporate the heavy bass of Lil Durk instrumentals with the horrorcore of 21 Savage instrumentals, but instead they just made this noisy thing. However, lyrically and flow-wise, Durk and 21 Savage are very impressive, which actually isn't surprising. But I do feel like Roddy Ricch on the chorus wasn't needed. His chorus is decent, don't get me wrong, but I just think for the theme of the song, it should have just been a steady stream of verses from different rappers, with the only thing breaking up the verses being DJ Khaled saying keep going. I think they should have taken Roddy off the song and put Polo G on it instead. He can be quite mild and relaxed with his rapping, but at the same time, he can be quite venomous, and I think he would have suited a beat like this. Don Toliver absolutely washes Travis Scott on Let's Pray. Travis Scott's verse on this song was not needed whatsoever. Don Toliver holds this song up perfectly on his own, but it's a so-so song to me because I can absolutely see myself forgetting about the song in 2 weeks' time. And now we're into the worst of the worst on this album. Starting off with No Secret. This is just as frustrating to me as Use This Gospel because it had a lot of potential to be a significant intro, but unlike Use This Gospel, this song goes absolutely nowhere. It stays at one level, it's too short, and could have benefited from a beat drop and longer verse from Drake. The reason why it's in the worst of the worst is because it's essentially a filler track. And it's right at the beginning of the album, which is not where you want a filler track at all. I was expecting a lot more from this, but it just sounds lazy. Party has the most unnecessary sample I've ever heard. The sample does nothing for the song. It doesn't elevate it in any way. It sounds like a typical Migos song, but not in like a No Label 2 or Young Rich Niggas type of way, but more like a Culture 3 type of way. It's average and there's nothing interesting about this song which would make you want to have it on repeat or even return to it. Staying Alive is the song that you knew DJ Khaled was going to choose to release as a single, literally because Drake and Lil Baby are featured on it. So he probably just assumed that this would do really well commercially, which I can't fault him for. It did. It reached the peak position of number 5 on Billboard, and I guess in the context of this album, this song doesn't sound as bad as when it initially came out, but I'm still not a fan of the chorus. I'm actually disappointed that the Bee Gees decided to lend their iconic hook to this song. I feel like the life of the original song is made into this melodramatic, lifeless CLB reject of a track. It's a bit of a shame, actually. Fam Good, We Good has this very victorious champion type beat, but the chorus is so repetitive. Holy crap. I will say that Roddy Ricch sounds better on this song than Keep Going, but his verse is still quite, regular. Gunna is the saving grace on this song. He picks the momentum up where Roddy left it, but it's not memorable, it's barely enjoyable, and even though Gunna acts as a saving grace, this song is just bad. Grateful. I really dislike this song. Vory is such a talented artist. Vory has the potential of 30 artists in one, but is this the best that DJ Khaled could do with a Vory feature? The song sounds rushed. It sounds like Vory wrote it last minute. You know when you're so hungry and you finally made your dinner, but before you eat you have to say grace, so you just rush through grace? That's what this song sounds like. Usually everything Vory touches turns to gold, but this is barely even bronze. It's in the same group as No Secret to me in the sense that as an outro, it had a lot going for it, but it's just very dry and goes absolutely nowhere. Altogether, this album has proven that it's just like every other DJ Khaled album in the sense that there's a handful of songs which are good, a handful of songs which are okay, and a handful of songs which are just terrible. There's really no progress being made when it comes to Khaled's discography. A lot of his projects nowadays just feel like he's throwing a bunch of A-list friends on his album in hopes that consumers will be drawn to it because the track list looks good. But DJ Khaled albums are really the equivalent of seeing the most sensational looking donut and then biting into it only to realize that it's stale. You might still eat the icing, however, but the rest of it is going in the bin. This album gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Despite some artists putting their heart into their verses, which I commend them for, there are some very disappointing tracks here, and sometimes the album just feels like a cash cow project. The whole album just sounds like a random playlist to me, which is so disappointing because DJ Khaled has a few songs with potential here on top of some already decent songs, but he fails to elevate at least half of his album, and I think in due time this LP will fade into obscurity. But there we have it, guys, my review. Let me know what you guys think of this album. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.